Welcome back, everybody. And this video we'll take a look at the major grammar error of the foul of shifting in verb tense. So if we take a look here at this handout, there's the example paragraph and then two other paragraphs with the brief descriptor at the top. Basically, with shifts in verb tense, what happens is that you start writing in one tense and then you shift to another. Now, this is bad, it's a foul, and it most commonly happens when someone is relating an incident in the past tense and then they shift to the present tense. And it creates a lot of confusion for the reader. Now, rarely, sometimes you might have the case where you're writing and you'll move from relating something in the past to the present. If that is the case, what you need to do is you need to signal that to the reader clearly by using a good signal word, not creating an announcement and saying, now I'm talking about the present, but you could do that simply by saying, however, today, right? So today would be the present. So that would be one way to signal a shift. Otherwise, we're going to be really careful about these verb vowels. So now, taking a look at the first paragraph, the Iroquois Indians of the Northeast regularly burned land to increase open space for agriculture. So now, tense is indicated by verbs. So what do we see there? Burned. That is past tense. How do we know that? Right? It ends in ed. So now, we're going to make sure that everything lines up. In fact, the settlers of Boston found so few trees that they had to row to the islands in the harbor to obtain fuel. Right? So let's take a look at that sentence. See how we do. They had, that's past tense, like that, so that lines up. Then we have an infinitive and then another infinitive. That sentence is okay. Just how far north this practice extends is uncertain, but the Saco River in southern Maine appear to have been the original northern boundary of the agricultural clearings. So now here we have some verb tense errors. So, this lowercase vt, verb tense. So now we have some. Just how far north this practice, you see how we're in the present there? What do we need to do? Keep it in the past. Extended is uncertain. Good. Now, the second half of the sentence, what do we see here? This in southern Maine appear to have been. Now, right here, this is very common with a lot of writers. What happens here is that people hear the t sound of the consonant sound of to, and they associate it with the ed, the d sound of the past tense ending there, and this is a verb foul, right? Appear to have been, nope, it's appeared to have been. Then, pressured by European settlement, the Iroquois extended, there we are, that's good, their systematic burning far northward, even into the maritime provinces of Canada. Good. So we cleaned that up, we caught those two verb tense errors. Simple dropping of the ed creates those fouls. So now we have these two other paragraphs to do. So be sure to pause the video and then we'll come back and take a look at them one at a time. Pause the video. Do the paragraph. Okay. let's take a look at this paragraph. The topic sentence here is really interesting for our purposes of looking at verb tense. Reason being, what do we see? For 7 years I called myself a swimmer, though I no longer do. Wow, that lets us know that in the past of the writer, he or she was a swimmer, but today, the present, the writer is no longer a swimmer. So this is something to keep in mind as we move forward. Okay, so the next sentence. Swimming, my one sport, not provided a necessary outlet for my abundant energy. Why? Because the speaker is no longer a swimmer. Past tense. Now, the next sentence is correct. Drew is the correct past tense, right? So that sentence is okay. Then, the next sentence. Cried, right? Not cry, because cry is present. We need past tense, cried, and we need to knock the S off of sets to put it into the past tense. The next sentence, this is that common dropping of the ed from past tense verb when we hear that t sound in the next word. Wanted to. Got to have that ed for past tense. Likewise, we need to shift yells to the past. Yelled. Likewise, relaxed, subsided. That was a good paragraph there. Fixing those. Now, remember, pause the video, and then we'll take a look at this last example. Okay, so we're back. Let's take a look at this last paragraph. Now, when we take a look at that topic sentence, we can tell that we're clearly in the past. Not only because the verb is in the past, but we have this indicator here. So we're clearly in the past tense. We got to make sure things line up. So this paragraph is not going to be as complicated as the previous paragraph. All right. So, the next sentence, the doctor had to obtain a throat culture from the girl who was suspected of having diphtheria. That sentence is good. This ordinarily simple task, not is, but was, we need past tense, hindered, so that's in the past, by the frightened and uncooperative patient, Mathilda Olson. Adding to the doctor's difficulties, not are, we need past tense. Were, struggled, ed, got to get that in there. Then the next sentence, they wanted, and we also have to change do to did. So we have to make sure everything is in the past. Then, what happens? Back on track. Became, that's past. Frustrated, that's past. Gave, that's past. So, writer's back on track here. And how does the writer finish up? Boom, back on track. And this is what we mean by shifting, right? Started in the past tense, shifted into present, and then shifted back to past. Once you get that tense, you have to remain consistent in your tense. Otherwise, you commit a major error in writing. You commit a foul, which nobody wants to happen. So please remember to avoid these shifts in verb tense, these verb fouls.